The school system was never to educate students for them to reach their full potential. It was to mold them into the perfect working candidates they can be. School is a great thing. I hardly doubt anyone can really debate that. They teach us important subjects such as maths, which I think is the best subject for anyone to learn. It teaches us science and physical education. School is where we make lifelong friends or friends that we have for a very long time. School provides us with education that is important and crucial for our development. But there is major flaws in the school system, and I'm not sure if it's just the school system or the government that is creating these flaws. See, the world has vastly changed in the last 30 years, and that change has accelerated in the last 20 years massively. The internet went from this mysterious thing where only few people knew about it to having the entire world on it, using it and relying on it. It has made the world become smaller and more connected. It has allowed for remote learning, working from home, and it has created careers, entrepreneurs, millionaires and billionaires. It has leveled the playing field for every single human on this planet. It has allowed them to learn from the greatest minds, read the best books, and talk with the brightest people. You can be anywhere in the world and create a business or work for a company. You aren't tied to a specific place. And now the smartphone has put the world as we know it in our pockets, and it is truly amazing. But as the world has changed, our school system has not. Our current education system were designed and built in the industrial age, and in some developed countries that was 300 years ago. There have been little changes, such as introduction of ICT, which teaches us how to use computers, and some updated facts, but our school system has still stayed the same. See, this is the main problem I have with the school system across the world, and especially in the developed world. The school system was never to educate students for them to reach their full potential. It was to mold them into the perfect working candidates that they can be. See, the school system back in the industrial age was to produce well-trained factory workers. When the move happened from agriculture to the industrial age, most people went from working on farms to working in factories. This meant millions of people were working in manufacturing, either on production lines or on farms or in mines. Owners of the factory needed and wanted well-trained people to work in the factory, so they, being wealthy business owners, invested large amounts of money to influence politicians to shape the school system to produce well-trained employees for them. Now, they didn't go about doing this overtly, but covertly, and it's still happening now, but because of the covertness, most of us are oblivious to it. The agenda here is not to educate students to be the best and reach their full potential. It's to mold children into a product to fit the demands of the economy of a given country. So right now, as of 2020, our school system in most developed first world countries want us to get sufficient education for us to then work in a corporate job. This is why you are always told to study hard in school, get good grades so that you can get a good job. You don't want to be a plumber now, do you? I mean, there's nothing wrong with being a plumber and they make good money. But our school system will directly or indirectly tell you that you need a corporate office job because our economy has moved away from the industrial age to the service age. But it's still the same principle, just the economic landscape has changed. But the school system is still there to churn out workers for the economy like a conveyor belt. So, how do schools do this? How do they churn out workers like a factory? Firstly, they stifle creativity in the students. The students are limited in the subjects that they can learn and the ways in which they can learn. There is no tailoring for individuals. It's a set standard, and we all know that we all learn differently. Some of us need to be practical and others we need visual context to learn. But schools do not offer this, as we are grouped into a class of 20 to 30 kids and then taught all the same. Students aren't there to learn the ins and outs of a subject, but they are there to know a surface level of information and then have the answers to the questions that are going to be in their upcoming test. So you're given textbooks and all you need to do is memorize the book and then go and pass the test. You're given a certain amount of time to get a certain grade, which then determines if you're a good student or a bad student. But the problem here is that it's not that a student is good, smart because they got an A and another student is dumb because they got an F. The problem is the teacher could not and did not teach the kids individually in a way that the student could understand. That could be because of poor teaching, or it could be because the teacher physically cannot teach all students individually because they have an hour lesson with a class full of 20 to 30 students. To add to that, there are students that are academically sound, while there are students that are creatively sound, and there are students that are practical and hands-on. They want to learn a trade. Education should be much deeper and more authentic. It should not be just about memorization and retention, but that seems like the only thing schools measure, and the test scores are the only thing governments value. This is unhealthy for students, parents, and teachers. Students are going through endless hours of tuition. They are staying up all night memorizing useless facts that they will forget very soon. And the most stupid thing is the tests aren't even set up for the students to pass with the highest grade possible, because there's higher and foundation papers which have a cap. The highest grade you can get on a foundation paper is a C, so you're not even setting the student up to succeed. If you're bad at science, English or maths, you're told that you're not trying hard enough and not taking it seriously. On parents' evening, your parents are told of your poor performance. You're made to resit tests until you pass. But if you're bad at sports, music or art, then you're simply told, don't worry, it's just not your thing. Why is that? These are still very valid career choices that can pay you handsomely as well. See, humans are different, and grouping them all in one to produce one type of worker that meets the need of the economy has detrimental effects on children that do not meet the standards the schools have set. It also has a negative effect on the economy and society as a whole in the long run, as you have groups of students that were told they are stupid because they didn't excel academically, and now they are discouraged to do anything or be anyone. See, the beauty of the modern world is that there are so many ways to monetize your work and make money. If you're good at sports, you can become an athlete. If you're good at acting, you can become an actor. If you're good at numbers, you can become a banker or accountant. If you are good at fixing things, you can become an electrician. There are so many ways to monetize your skill set, and every single person has a skill. There's no one that does not have a skill. So it's better to have creative students focus on the creative side, such as art, music, acting and all that stuff. Have academic people focus on the academic side, such as business, engineering, medics, computer programmers, etc. Have crafts people focus on the craft side, such as builders, electricians, plumbers, mechanics, etc. This way, we get every student excelling in what they are good at, which in return has a positive effect on the economy, as we will have well-qualified people for every industry and sector. It is predicted by economists that by improving the education system in the US would boost the US economy by $27 trillion over the next few decades. This has an effect on all nations. By improving the education system, every single country's economy will rise massively, as we will have everyone that is skilled. And skilled people are going to be needed more and more in the future as automation starts replacing more and more unskilled people from the job market. Also, this way, students that aren't academically driven don't end up thinking they are dumb. Because they aren't, it's just the school system is not proficient in teaching them correctly. Along with having each student be taught in what they're good at, every student should still be taught universal subjects that are always going to be needed, such as maths and ICT, as they are the most important subjects going forward for everyone, and maths has been like the most important since the dawn of time. English, as it's the global language, and that's it. These subjects don't have to be taught in depth if the student doesn't want to, but it should be taught for the student to have a sufficient understanding of the subject and they can comfortably use the skill in their day-to-day life. Firstly, every student should try a wide variety of subjects and then pick one that they like and excel at, along with English, maths and ICT, and maybe science. Classes should be kept small, and children that need extra help should be given huge amounts of one-on-one attention to help them get up to speed. Merit pay, which is to top up teacher's salary if the student does well on tests, needs to be removed. because merit pay makes teachers push the students to achieve higher grades by memorizing and reciting answers from a textbook and not actually learning anything so they can pass a test. Schools should not be in competition with each other to receive funding. Now, what do I think will be the future of education and the school system? Well, the system is massively outdated and ineffective. The governments need to understand that having a skilled workforce in every sector means that you have a more efficient economy that is making progress at a massive rate, and they need to change the school system to fit the modern world in where there is so many ways to be successful and of value to society. As I mentioned in the Is University Worth It video, if you haven't checked that video out, go check it out, it's pretty good. I think that education will be more digital and automated. You will have schools that will have teachers with massive content for courses. They will teach a subject in different ways. As they aren't time restricted, they can record different videos and teach how to learn, for example, algebra in different ways, so it will make sense to different students, as no one learns the same. Classes will go at the student's pace, and it will require students to actually learn the topic and not just memorize and recite the information. Education will be cheaper than before, and universities and colleges will have a hard time attracting students because everything can be learned online at the fraction of a price. Schools will still be around, but because of the use of online courses, schools will be able to offer more subjects and have students pick the subjects that they like. There will still be central-based physical learning, but online courses help massively in the future. YouTube, schools' online courses, Google searches, textbooks, informational books and online course sites will become prevalent, and there might be workshops to teach people practical skills and creative skills. Education will be based around the laptop and the internet, with teachers being utilized on an as-needed basis. Anyway, that's what I think education will be like in the future, and by future I mean around 15 to 20 years or so. What do you guys think education will be like in the future, and do you agree with this video or not? Let me know in the comment section below, and if you liked it then hit like, you know it helps with the algorithm, and hit subscribe. I got some nice videos coming. Until then, peace.